I'm 13 News Now meteorologist Evan Stewart. It is Tuesday afternoon. Here's the latest on what's happening with Debby. Still a tropical storm working its way across parts of South Carolina and Georgia right now. As we zoom in, you can see it doesn't look like a traditional tropical system. It doesn't have a concentric center. It's almost looking like more of a traditional area of low pressure with that comma shape, but that's because it's over land. We do expect it to drift offshore here off the coast of South Carolina and sit for about 24 to 36 hours before it makes landfall once again. And while it sits over the waters, that will give it a chance and an opportunity to re-strengthen, especially if it drifts far enough east. It could hit those warmer Gulf Stream waters, and it is expected to strengthen as it sits out over those waters. And that will just mean more enhanced thunderstorm activity, especially from South Carolina into North Carolina and spreading into Virginia over the next several days. We're looking at the potential for heavy rain here across Hampton Roads and especially parts of North Carolina as we head into Thursday and Friday and even into Saturday, looking at the chances for some rain, because this is just going to be a slow mover. Right now it's creeping at only 6 miles per hour. Winds of 40, currently located 15 miles south of Savannah, Georgia. That's as of the 11 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center. And here you can see how it just sits off the coast for a couple of days. Eventually it'll get picked up by a cold front, which will race it off towards the north and east. But notice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even into Saturday, impacting much of the mid-Atlantic and southeast with that potential for some heavy rain. Here's what it looks like as far as in that track. Once again, with all the different computer models, they're in fairly good agreement that it's going to drift offshore and then start to curve back towards the north. Still some questions as to exactly where it comes ashore and whether it's a little bit closer to that east side of the cone or the west side. General idea is there, and notice that track carries it up through central and western parts of North Carolina and central Virginia. Again, east side of the storm will have some of the heaviest of the rain. Exactly how far east and west it is over the next couple of days will factor into how much rain we see, but it's a pretty good bet that we're going to see some pretty solid rain chances over the next several days, and the potential, especially Thursday into Friday, of some very heavy downpours. Here's the 5-day forecast for rainfall, and again, closest to the center of that track is where we're looking at some of the heaviest of the rain from south central Virginia, close to Danville, down through Raleigh, Fayetteville, and the northeastern parts of South Carolina, looking at some of the heaviest of the rain, 7 to 10 inches expected. And in an area close to Lumberton and along the North Carolina-South Carolina state border, looking at 10 to 15 inches of rain. Even here in Hampton Roads, 4 to 6, 3 to 5, 2 to 4 could be the potential for that heavier rain. Since the central and western parts of Virginia will be closer to the track, that's why those numbers are a little bit higher, but just a shift eastward could mean Hampton Roads could be on the higher end of some of these rainfall numbers. So still a little bit of some uncertainty, but again, a good solid chance of rain coming up later this week. Looking at the flash flooding potential, yesterday and again today, we have the extreme threat of flash flooding here through parts of South Carolina and southern North Carolina. That'll extend through tomorrow morning and then into Thursday morning, still looking at that extreme threat here through South and North Carolina. And even that very likely threat, level 3 threat, working its way closer to Raleigh through the day tomorrow, and then Thursday into Friday, that expands northward. So this will be 4 days in a row that we'll see that extreme threat for flash flooding because of that very heavy rain. Again, you saw that bullseye sort of focused here along the North Carolina, South Carolina state line, and that's why we're looking at that high risk of flooding potential and flash flooding as we head through the weekend. It does extend northward as we go here towards the end of the week, and that's why Thursday and Friday will likely be weather alert days for the potential for some very heavy rain, as this trend will continue as the storm moves its way through Virginia and North Carolina. In the meantime, elsewhere in the tropics, just watching this wave, nothing too impressive here in the central and eastern Caribbean. Has about a 30% chance of development once it moves into the western Caribbean or back towards the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Of course, we'll keep you updated here online and of course on air. We'll have the latest updates posted every several hours with the updated forecast tracks from the National Hurricane Center on Debby and the impacts that we could see here in Hampton Roads.